Episode 8 of Miss Incognito begins at a kindergarten. As the children arrive, the principal introduces a new school driver to all the teachers, Mr. Gill, who has just joined and walks with a limp. He greets everyone, but Yang becomes suspicious because he's new and she notices he limps. She stops the principal and asks where the driver was hired from. The principal says he came from a job recruitment site and has worked a lot in transportation, but Yang insists he's a stranger and says she can't let her identity be revealed. Yang asks for the driver's resume. Ji watched them from a distance. The principal gives Yang the resume to verify and leaves for some work. Yang calls the place where he supposedly worked to check, but they tell her they only keep 5 years of records and this driver worked there 7 years ago, so they can't verify him. The driver arrives and says he thought the principal was here, and mentions that the vehicle needs maintenance. Yang says she'll convey his message and the driver leaves. Yang takes a photo of his resume and keeps it with her. In the next scene, Song Tae is hiring some laborers for his farm work. One of the men is new. Song Tae's friend told him to give him work to see how he performs. Friend asks Song Tae about his construction work. Song Tae says he's himself worried but will finish the work before winter. Then he leaves. The driver is out dropping off children. Today it's Yang's duty to take the kids home, so she goes along. They reach a supermarket where Yang goes in to drop Jonghwa's daughter off, and she notices a new man there. Yang asks Jonghwa who these men are. Jonghwa says they'd come to do some work for Song Tae's fields for a while. Then Yang leaves. She's on the bus and tells the driver that she'll get off with Ju-won, and Ju-won says teachers stay with them. The driver smiles at that and drops them off, saying goodbye. At home, So Young worries because Sian hasn't replied to her message yet and she doesn't know what she is up to. She takes money out of the suitcase and just then Yang arrives at home. So Yang tells her that because Yang will inherit all of the chairman's wealth, she wants to be paid 10 million per month to keep quiet, and gives her a week to decide so she can make up her mind. Yang doesn't say anything. Sian is watching videos from a psychiatric hospital and sees Lee Dan talking to her brother. Right then Sian Woo calls her and she asks where he is. Sian Woo tells her to transfer all her shares to his name, and threatens her that on the day the chairman's daughter, Yi Rim died, Sian was in New York and he has video of that day. Lee Dan was in the same hotel parking lot where Sian Woo was staying, and using the tracker he had installed on the phone, he was listening to their conversation. Sian tells him to first meet and talk about this. Sian Woo sends a photo of Yi Rim to Sian and Sian tells her secretary to bring Sian Woo to her by anyhow. Lee Dan also sees this photo and thinks about how these siblings are disgusting. Then he calls Yang and tells her about video evidence and that if they get this evidence they could easily win the game. Yang says she will fulfill her promise to the chairman. Lee Dan tells her that things are going in their favor and asks her to stay alive a little longer and cuts the call. Yang checks her cameras and finds one of them damaged. When she reviews the recordings she realizes someone with a mask tampered with the camera. We see Taemin had brought a bouquet for Ji and was looking at Ji and Dongmin was there too. Yang rushes out of the house. Dongmin sees this and follows her. Ji, who is staying with the principal, also leaves her home. When Yang arrives at the spot she sees the camera is broken and has a feeling someone is there. She walks forward and someone attacks her, pinning her down and choking her. She grabs at the attacker's shirt and sees a scar on his chest. At that moment Dongmin arrives, the attacker runs away. Yang tells Dongmin to follow the attacker, and then she follows too. They arrive at a lodging place used by farm workers. Dongmin checks around because it's man's lodging area and Yang waits. Dongmin looks in different places and grows suspicious of one new worker, but someone questions him what he was doing there so he has to leave. Dongmin later reports that he only suspects one new worker. Yang mentions seeing a scar on the man's chest. Dongmin saves his number as Yang's emergency contact, but Yang says she doesn't need it and leaves. Ji watches them quietly. Ji then goes home and sees Taemin waiting for her. When she approaches him, Taemin hesitates and hands her a bouquet. She asks him if he likes her. He gets nervous, his personality shifts, and he unexpectedly proposes to Ji. Ji accepts the bouquet and Taemin gets back to normal. Ji says she's tired and going to sleep and then leave. Yang returns home and finds her mother sleeping, so she starts checking her camera. She notices a man who had broken one of her cameras. Then she also sees Ji hiding and watching everything. Men sent by Cian arrive at the hotel. Cian Wu was waiting for his sister. Li Dan is also waiting for Cian's men at the same hotel. He sees them arriving and notices Cian herself hasn't come. He remembers that he can't let Cian Wu be caught, so he starts to follow those men. Secretary Han goes to Cian Wu's door and asks to open it. Cian Wu, who had given the wrong room number, checks the camera and sees that his sister hasn't come. He yells that she is trying to lock him up and then kill him like they did with her father, but says that he won't let that happen. Li Dan arrives there too and must somehow save Cian Wu. He triggers the fire alarm so people will panic and run away. Meanwhile, Secretary Han and others try to enter the room Cian Wu had been given, but Cian Wu takes advantage of the confusion and escapes. Li Dan keeps shouting, "Fire," to create chaos, but Mr. Han spots Li Dan and starts chasing him. Li Dan, while dodging them, reaches his car, but gangsters attack him and knock him unconscious. The next day Dongmin is waiting for Yang. When she arrives, he shows her a long list of tasks they need to do that day and says they should first go to Songtae's farm to learn about the new people. They go there to talk. Dongmin asks for details about the workers, but Songtae isn't interested in telling them anything. Yang shows Zhonghwa's daughter's toy she was about to deliver it, and Songtae, who likes Zhonghwa, takes it and says he'll share the contact details. Dongmin is impressed by Yang's trick. Yang tells him they should split up to do the work. Dongmin goes to speak with the workers. Then he also went to the police station to report that last night he had seen a suspicious man standing at the village entrance, and he asked the police to increase the night patrol, and the officers agree. That night they return to the same spot where the masked man had disappeared last time. Dongmin tells her about a new worker named Se-jun who does the night shift, and he goes to investigate him, and Yang waits. Yang checks her camera and sees again that someone came to break it. She runs in that direction. When Dongmin comes back, he can't find Yang, so he calls her. She says she saw the man near the supermarket and asks him to meet there. The masked man comes again to break cameras. Dongmin arrives and Yang comes from the other side. The masked man attacks them, but they fight back and overpower him. They remove his mask and discover he's the new worker Se-jun. Yang checks his chest for scars but finds none. They ask Se-jun if he was the one who attacked Yang last night, but Se-jun denies it, saying he was only paid to break the cameras. Yang gives a description of the driver and asks if the person limp and also how Se-jun knew the camera locations. Se-jun says he doesn't know anything about that man, he received all the information to his phone. Yang looks at his phone and calls that number. Suddenly they hear a sound nearby and realize the attacker is nearby. They start chasing him, but he's very fast and gets away from them. Dongmin then asks Yang if she suspects the driver. Yang replies that only the driver and the worker are new in town, so she thinks that's why. They decide to go home. Yang calls Li Dan as he has not verified the driver's resume yet, but Li Dan doesn't answer, which makes her a little suspicious. In the next scene, Li Dan regains consciousness and sees that gangsters have captured him. They ask him about Cian Wu where he is, but Li Dan says he's also looking for him. The thugs talk about how Cian Wu hasn't paid them for work. Then they start torturing Li Dan. He makes them an offer: if they find Cian Wu for him, he will pay them. Then he asks them how they find him, and the men boast that finding people is their specialty, they can find anyone. Li Dan asks them to find Cian Wu and promises to give them 100 million in return. But they tell him to transfer 50 million now, and then they release him. Li Dan checks his phone to transfer the money and sees a driver's resume. Li Dan asks them to find out about one man more, and the gang agrees. Cian Wu goes to the man who was supposed to make him a fake passport so he could leave the country, but the man tells him that it will take 3 days. So he has to wait. After that, Cian Wu leaves. At school, the principal tells Yang that their village's volleyball tournament will be held at the school next week, and there will be a party afterwards, so she should be ready for that. Just then, Haiji comes to the room to get something. Yang stops her because she wants to talk, but Haiji says she's busy in the classroom and will come after finishing her work. Meanwhile, the kids are running and playing. They spill water on Gil's clothes. Gil tells them not to worry, that he'll change, and heads to change clothes. As Haiji is walking past the room, she notices marks on his body. Gil feels someone might be watching, so he steps outside to check, but Haiji hides. Later, Haiji goes into Yang's class to talk to her. Yang asks if she was spying her the previous night, and Haiji admits it. Yang then warns her that if she's following orders from someone else she should stop, because it won't affect her and she should leave Machang. Then Yang walks away and Haiji also leaves the school. Outside, Haiji sees the driver watching Yang leave. She messages Taemin and asks him to call her in 30 minutes, then goes to Gil and asks him for a ride home. On the way, she asks Gil where he lives. Gil asks why she's asking, she replies that she's also looking for a place to stay, and asks whether he knows anyone here. Gil becomes suspicious and asks if she really wants to know. Haiji gets a little frightened for a moment but then pretends and jokes that he must know the village chief and must have come through him. Both of them laugh. 30 minutes later Taemin calls Haiji, and she tells him she'll be home soon, then cuts the call. Then we see the man Sean had hired earlier to kill Yang and it turns out that man is Gil. At Sean Woo's house, she receives a message from Gil saying he'll take care of his work tomorrow. Sean remembers a conversation with attorney Kim. The attorney had told her that if someone's whereabouts are unknown for 5 years, they are legally declared dead. Sean Woo thinks if they kill Kim Yang's chairman wife, the situation will get complicated since everyone will assume that Seon had killed her, but it would be better if she died quietly by being school teacher Bu Semi. Yang is at home when her mother calls. She's very drunk and asks Yang to come pick her up. Yang asks Dongmin to come with her so he can take her mother home. At Dongwoo's shop, So Yang is very drunk. When Dongmin and Yang arrive, they try to take her, but instead of taking her mother home, Yang drops her at the police station. When the officer asks if she knows the person, Yang refuses to know her mother, and even shows her own ID, claiming she is Bu Semi. Then she leaves the police station. Dongmin watches all of this and doesn't understand why she acted that way. Outside, he asks Yang if what she did was right. Yang snaps that he shouldn't worry about her decisions, and becomes a little emotional. She explains that the news spread that she had stolen sanitary pads, but she didn't actually steal them. She had intended to but stopped midway and the shop owner had caught her. He was willing to settle if they paid him, but her mother told Yang to go to jail for a while because she can't afford money to pay the shop owner. Dongmin feels bad for her and holds her hand to take her home. Both Yang and Dongmin go home and think about what happened. Butler Choi and Cheol Soo are at the chairman's house, where they are trying on the chairman's expensive watches and taking pictures. They think to themselves that since they can't find the will, at least they should sell these watches and make some money from them. Then the day of the volleyball tournament finally arrives. Everyone is busy preparing for it, and Gil is there too. Yang notices him from a distance. The match begins, and Dongmin's team is in the lead. Later that night, the dinner party starts. Meanwhile, Lee Don, who has already discovered Gil's real identity, calls Yang. Yang steps aside to answer the call. Gil also notices her and keeps an eye on her. On the call, Lee Don warns Yang that Gil has come there to kill her. Yang cuts the call and messages Gil, telling him she has some work and to come to her house at 9 p.m. Gil sees the message. Yang quietly leaves for home, and Gil makes an excuse about going to the bathroom before sneaking out as well. Haiji notices that Yang is no longer there, and she also sees that Gil is missing, so she leaves too. A little later, Dongmin and Taemin arrive at the party. When Dongmin can't find Yang, he remembers her earlier suspicion about the driver. When he asks around about Gil, someone tells him that Gil went to the bathroom. Dongmin grows suspicious and rushes out in his car. Meanwhile, Gil arrives at Yang's house carrying gasoline. He enters quietly, finding no one around. Suddenly, Yang points a gun at his neck and demands to know who he really is. But Gil is physically stronger. They get into a fight. Gil grabs her by the throat, choking her until she loses consciousness. He then ties her to a chair and starts pouring gasoline over her. Yang still unconsciousness. Gil then prays, asking God to forgive him for what he's about to do. He's just about to set her on fire when suddenly Haiji attacks him from behind. She rushes to untie Yang and tries to wake her up, and she wakes up. Gil regains consciousness, pulls out a knife, and stabs Haiji, and she collapses on the spot. Gil then picks up the gun and aims it at Yang, ready to shoot. And at that very moment the episode ends. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel.